Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring something I think a lot of us feel these days, especially with everything being so connected all the time. We're talking about choosing a smaller social circle, maybe a more private life.
Yeah. It really taps into that desire for a bit more peace, maybe.
Yeah.
A sort of pushback against feeling you have to be everywhere with everyone all the time.
Exactly. It feels like a reaction to being overwhelmed. So we looked into a discussion from the EDP English Dialogue podcast channel on YouTube, which really got us thinking.
Yeah, it was quite insightful.
And our mission here really is to unpack that.
Yeah.
Understand, the benefits, the challenges, and how someone might actually practically create that kind of life for, well, better well-being.
Makes sense.
So let's dive in. What do we actually mean when we say a small circle? Is it just fewer friends?
Well, yes and no. It's less about the exact number, I think, and more about intentionally focusing your social energy. So you're looking at a really tight-knit group, close friends, family, people you have deep connections with.
Right. So depth over breadth. Like investing more in fewer relationships.
Precisely. It's that whole quality over quantity principle. The EDP discussion put it nicely, didn't they? Something about likes versus a real connection.
Oh yeah, 1,000 likes don't equal one truly understanding glance across a dinner table. That really stuck with me.
Exactly. That's the core idea. Fewer but much deeper connections.
And the payoff for that is, what? More trust.
Definitely more trust, yeah.
Yeah.
And more reliable support, a genuine sense of understanding each other, which, naturally builds that feeling of belonging, security even.
Okay, that makes sense. And then there's the other piece, the private life. This feels almost countercultural today, doesn't it? Sharing less.
It can feel that way, yeah. But it's not really about being secretive or hiding things. It's more about setting boundaries consciously.
Boundaries around what you share.
Exactly, what personal stuff you share and critically who you share it with. It's about protecting your personal space, your mental energy, really.
Mhm.
Shielding yourself a bit from all that external noise and pressure.
Like building a little mental fort. Right. A place to recharge without feeling watched.
That's a great way to put it. It's crucial for mental well-being, having that space to decompress.
Mm.
And, practically speaking, it can also just cut down on misunderstandings or unnecessary drama that sometimes comes with oversharing.
Mm-hmm. But I guess some people hear private life and think isolation, like cutting yourself off.
Yeah, that's a common misconception, but it's not about being a hermit at all. It's really about finding your balance, balancing that social engagement you still want and need with dedicated personal time.
Time for yourself, for hobbies, interests, just quiet time.
Yes, exactly. Time to pursue things just for you without feeling like you have to perform or document it for an audience.
Now that combination, the solid inner circle plus the private space, that's what leads to the peaceful days idea.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
When you've got that stable support system and you have the ability to retreat and recharge when you need to,
Yep.
it just cultivates a sense of calm.
Helps manage stress, maybe. Keeps your head clear.
Absolutely. It's a really effective buffer against, the daily grind and the stresses life throws at you. Maintaining that mental clarity.
Okay, so let's break down those benefits a bit more. We've touched on them. But what are the real plus sides here?
Well, one huge one is just less social stress. Fewer obligations, fewer parties you feel you have to go to, fewer expectations to manage.
Okay. That frees up energy.
Loads of energy.
Oh,
And time. Time for the people and things that actually genuinely matter to you.
that sounds appealing already. Less frantic running around.
Definitely. And flowing from that, often there's just less drama, fewer conflicts. When relationships are based on real understanding and respect, interactions tend to be smoother, less emotionally draining.
What about personal growth? Does this lifestyle help there?
I think it really can, yeah. In a close group, you're more likely to get honest, meaningful feedback, personalized support, stuff that actually helps you grow, rather than just, surface level comments.
Right. It's harder to get that real feedback in a huge crowd.
Exactly. And the private life part, that gives you the space for introspection, for self-discovery. It's in that quiet, away from constant input, that you can really connect with yourself, what you need, what you want.
Okay. But it can't all be easy. What are the downsides? The challenges people run into?
Well, the big one, especially now, is FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah. Social media makes that tough. seeing everyone else's highlights.
It really does. It's hard not to feel like you're being left out sometimes, or that you should be doing more, being more visible.
That little nagging feeling.
But, focusing on your small circle can actually help counter that. It shifts your focus from seeking validation to appreciating what you do have, which is often more fulfilling anyway.
Okay, what else? Any other hurdles?
There's also that misconception we mentioned that if you have a small circle or value privacy, you must be antisocial or lonely.
Right. People might worry about being labeled that way.
Yeah, exactly. But the research, and what EDP touched on too, often shows the opposite. People with these deeper, smaller circles often report feeling more satisfied, more emotionally secure. It really comes down to the quality of connection, not just the number.
Hmm.
A few strong bonds beat 100 shallow ones for actual support and happiness.
Okay, so for someone listening who's thinking, yes, this sounds like something I want more of, what are some practical steps? How do you actually do this?
I think the first step is being really intentional about where your social energy goes. Like, actively prioritize relationships that uplift you, people who share your values, who make you feel good, who contribute positively, kind of curating your circle.
Filtering almost.
Yeah.
Being selective.
Exactly, a healthy filter. And importantly, being willing to let go gently of relationships that consistently drain you or just don't feel right anymore.
That can be hard, but necessary sometimes for creating space.
Absolutely. Then there's setting boundaries, being clear first with yourself, then with others about what you're comfortable sharing and what you prefer to keep private.
And communicating that.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Yes, communication is key. It's not about shutting people down, but explaining your needs and actively carving out that personal time, scheduling it even. Time for hobbies, relaxing, just thinking, whatever recharges you.
Making it non-negotiable.
Pretty much, yeah. And finally, like we said, talking openly with your close circle about why you value privacy can actually strengthen those bonds. They understand and respect your needs.
Now, we can't really talk about privacy and connection without talking about technology, social media. How does that fit in? It feels like both a tool and a trap sometimes.
That's exactly the tension, isn't it? It can connect us, especially over distances, but it's also a massive source of stress, comparison, distraction, all things that can undermine this whole idea of a smaller circle and private life.
Yeah, that constant feed, the highlight reels. It makes privacy feel harder, maybe.
It definitely can. So mindful use is crucial. That means, maybe limiting screen time overall, being selective about which platforms you're even on.
Using it more intentionally.
Yeah.
For specific connections.
Right. Focusing on using it to actually enhance your close relationships, DMs, private groups, that sort of thing, rather than getting sucked into the public performance aspect.
Yep.
And curating what you do share. Only posting what feels genuinely comfortable, resisting that pressure to overshare.
Protecting your own boundaries online as well as offline.
Exactly. And maybe thinking about regular digital detoxes, just stepping away completely for a bit.
That sounds necessary these days, doesn't it? Like hitting a reset button.
It really can be. It gives your brain a break, lets you reconnect with the physical world, with yourself, with people right in front of you.
Okay, so let's make this even more concrete. Can you give some everyday examples? What does this look like in practice?
Sure. Think about someone choosing to have, say, a quiet dinner with two close friends instead of going to a huge, noisy party. They're choosing deep connection over broad, maybe shallower interaction because that feels more relaxing, more fulfilling to them.
Okay, yeah. What else?
Or someone who, maybe in the evenings, deliberately puts their phone away and spends time on a hobby, reading, painting, music, whatever. They're not checking notifications, not scrolling. They're just immersed in something for themselves. That brings a lot of peace.
Work life, too.
Yeah, definitely. Setting professional boundaries, being friendly with colleagues, of course, but maybe not sharing every detail of your personal life. Keeping work about work, which can make it much less stressful, less emotionally tangled.
So all these little choices, they add up to creating these spaces, physical and mental, where you feel safer, more
Yeah.
supported.
Spaces for peace, really. Built through intentional choices about your time, your energy, and who gets your deepest focus.
It really drives home how much control we actually can have over our environment and our well-being, doesn't it?
It does. It's about reclaiming some of that agency.
So if we had to sum it all up, what's the core takeaway from this deep dive?
I think the main message is the real, tangible value in being intentional. intentional about building that small supportive circle, and intentional about protecting your personal time and space. It's about quality over quantity in relationships, making room for self-care, for introspection, and all of that really does lead to more fulfilling, more peaceful days.
And crucially, it's a personal thing, right? There's no one-size-fits-all formula.
Absolutely not. Finding your own balance between connection and solitude, between sharing and privacy, that's the key to individual happiness. What works for one person might feel totally wrong for another.
Well, this has been really clarifying. Thinking about how choosing less in some areas can actually lead to more in terms of peace and fulfillment. Lots to mull over.
It is. And maybe the best thing listeners can do now is just reflect a little. Think about your own relationships, your own boundaries. Ask yourself,
Hmm.
what do peaceful days actually look like for me? And maybe, what's one small step I would take towards that?